بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على حبيبنا وشفيعنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. آمين آمين يا رحمن يا رحيم. Today in this video I want to introduce you to Surah Al-Fatihah. This video, which consists of 5 parts, include the introduction, the name and reason for naming, the place and order of revelation, the number of verses and words, and most importantly, the content of Surah Al-Fatihah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
The first part is the introduction part of the surah. Surah Al-Fatihah, also known as Al-Hamd, is the first surah of the Quran. Titled al-Kitab means mother of book, and it's Meccan surah located in the first part juz of the Quran. This surah is known as al-Kitab because it encapsulates the inner message of the Quran, and every subsequent surah derives from its central message. It is also referred to as Sab'ul Masani because its 7 verses are recited multiple times daily by Muslims in their prayers. The second part is the name and the reason for naming of surah. The primary name of this surah because it is the first surah of the Quran and the Quran begins with it. Fatihatul Kitab, where Fatiha means opening and Al-Kitab means book. This surah is the first complete surah revealed to the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. More than 20 names have been mentioned for this surah. The most famous which include Al-Hamd, Al-Quran, Al-Sab'ul Mathani, and other names. The third part is the place and order of revelation of the surah. Surah Al-Fatihah was revealed twice, once at the beginning of the prophethood in Mecca and again after the change of the Qibla in Medina. Hence, it is also called Masani. However, because it was the first revealed in Mecca, it is referred to as a Meccan surah. This surah is the first surah of the Quran in order of the Mus'haf, and according to some narrations, the 5 surah in the order of revelation and the first complete surah revealed. The fourth part is the number of verses and words of the surah. Surah Al-Fatihah has 7 verses, 29 words, and 143 letters. In terms of the length, it is one of the shorter chapters of the Quran. The fifth part is the content of the surah. If we look at these 7 verses, we can divide them into 3 main sections. First, verse 1 to 4 discuss the essence of Allah, who He is, and some of His important attributes. The middle section consists of just one verse, verse 5, which describes our relationship with Allah and how relationship should be. The last section, verse 6 and 7, is where we ask Allah to guide us on the straight path. These 3 sections combine to form the central message of Surah Al-Fatihah. Let's take a closer look at each section. First sections, verse 1 to 4. The first part, which discusses the essence of Allah, begins with the verse Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, means in the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. This verse is set not only for this surah, but also for how we approach everything we do. From the very beginning, we learn that whether we are reading the Quran or even drinking water, all our actions should be in the name of Allah and for His pleasure. This is way to strengthen our humility and refocus our attention on Allah. In the second verse, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, mentioned in praise and thanks to Allah for all His blessing and for making us part of His creation are expressed. We humans should always and everywhere be grateful of Allah for our beauty, health, family and children, wealth and positions, and everything we have. Allah then reaffirmed two of His important attributes, Rahman and Rahim. It is understood that the word Rahman is used for all His creation in the world, and Rahim is specifically for the believer in the hereafter. In the last verse, Maliki Yawmiddin, Allah introduced Himself as the Master of the Day of Judgment, reminding us of the reality of the hereafter and the day when everyone will be judged by Allah for their deed and will ultimately go to either heaven or hell. Middle section, verse 5. The next part, verse 5, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ, describe two aspects of our relationship with Allah. First, we should always remember and worship Him. And second, we should always turn to Him for help and guidance. Therefore, worshipping and taking help from anyone other than Allah, even the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, is the forbidden and considered a major sin. Last section, verse 6 and 7. Having discussed the essence of Allah and our relationship with Him, the last section of the surah focuses on the straight path. In this verse, we ask Allah to guide us on the straight path, the path followed by all the previous prophets and believers, not the path those who have incurred His wrath and those who haven't gone astray. These three main sections combine to teach us who Allah is and how we should worship Him. The central message of Surah Al-Fatihah set the stage for the content that follows in the Quran. Every subsequent surah always relates back to Al-Fatiha and its message. Well, my dear brothers and sisters, thanks Allah we have been able to learn about Surah Al-Fatiha as every Muslim should. I hope that I can serve both you and Allah in the path of Islam, and then we can spread the religion of Islam around the world day by day, so that people can live in the completely safe Islamic society. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
صدق الله